All right. Well, thank you very much. My name is Shailen Bhatt. I am the Secretary of Transportation here in Delaware. And, he said that nobody's ever left with a frown. When they brought us in the van and they were driving us around, at the end of the ride, I realized I just had a big grin on my face. And it sort of transported me back to being a little kid, and just the whole geometry of things and the gravity of it, just a whole different perspective. So I'm excited, and I don't think I'll be leaving here today with a frown. I want to thank some of the people who were instrumental in bringing this together. Jim Lardier, Director of Public and Government Affairs at AAA Mid-Atlantic, Gary Camp, Senior Director of Communications, Dover International Speedway, Michael Waltrip Racing, and Sonny Kroom, owner, and Ken Dyer, Business and Operations Manager for Monster Racing Enterprises. I have to say, there are some challenges in being the Secretary of Transportation in Delaware, and there are some really cool things, and this is one of the cool things. But I don't want the fact that we're on at this great venue and about to do some pretty cool things to overshadow the seriousness of the event. National Work Zone Safety Awareness Week is a national campaign that's been going on for about 13 years, and it's to draw attention to the fact that our workers and our drivers and just the traveling public are put in some pretty touchy situations every year. And we want to make sure that they are protected. And so we recognize the importance of traffic safety education. AAA Mid-Atlantic is partnering with DelDOT to co-sponsor this year's campaign. Through their endorsement, DelDOT has been able to secure the services of race car driver Martin Truex Jr., who will serve as this year's Work Zone Safety Campaign spokesperson for the Delaware campaign. I've not met him personally, but I have seen the PSA that we did, and I think it'll be a very effective tool to reach out to people. And you'll be seeing some of the billboards and other marketing materials. I think we're going to be putting his picture on some of our DART buses as well. And Jim Lardier will speak in a few minutes and talk about their commitment as well. We had a hurricane here last year, and I got this. Actually, I think it was a traffic outfit, but I looked like the Kool-Aid man. I was covered in this reflective material, and I drove around the state for 3 days. It was pretty action-packed, and then finally I was driving into Georgetown, and I saw a big tree branch down on the road, and I thought, finally the secretary gets to do something, right? So I flipped on the lights, and I got out of the car, and I went to pick up this tree branch, but it was still really windy. So these couple of cars had stopped, and I was trying to pull the tree branch out of the road. Well, as I was walking up to it, the wind kept blowing it further and further away from me. And so by the time, it took me about 5 minutes to get this out. And I started off very officially, and by the end I was sort of tail between my legs, walking back to the vehicle. And the people in the vehicles were sort of having a laugh at this poor inept fellow who clearly hadn't done much of this before. And I remember laughing as I was thinking about it. Then I remember thinking, if I had to do this every single day, it's a pretty dangerous environment out there. And when I was at USDOT before I came to Delaware, in California they were working on one of the bridges in San Francisco, and a gentleman driving a truck full of produce, they had some work on the bridge, missed the new lane alignment, drove right off the bridge, and obviously was a fatality. In work zones every year, there are about 30,000 people who are injured, and last year 547 people were killed. You think about 30,000 people being injured, that's the population of a city like Dover. And it's obviously something that we're very concerned about. We have in this country an aging system that requires a lot of rehabilitation. A lot of people complain you have 2 summers, right? You have winter and then you have orange cone season. And it takes a lot of investment and a lot of time and a lot of attention to get people to get that system fixed. That means that 20% of our interstate system or our road system is under construction at some time. And so while, I do want to highlight a couple of statistics though. Nearly 2 people are killed and 84 people are injured every day in highway work zones. In a typical 5-day work week, an average of 8 motorists and 1 worker are killed. And I think that's very important. I think we need to recognize that it's 8 motorists and 1 worker are killed. So it's not just our workers that we're concerned about here, right? The majority of people who are killed in work zones or injured are people who are driving. Last year there were 122 work zone crashes in this state. Of those, 30% resulted in personal injury, and 1 resulted in a fatality. Of the 122 work zone crashes last year, 21% were contributed to following too closely. There's a lot of there's a lot out there for drivers right now. We have distracted drivers. We have drivers who are interacting in vehicles. We have young drivers that are coming out there, and they have an expectation. Then all of a sudden, you introduce a work zone where you have, things aren't as familiar as they're used to being, and it is a recipe for disaster. So Delaware and AAA Mid-Atlantic are supporting the importance of work zone awareness by this campaign. There's going to be radio spots, print ads, as I mentioned, some public service announcements, because we want to draw attention to this. So, so at this time, I'd like to call it Mr. Lardier.
Thank you. Thank you. Again, my name is Jim Lardier, and I'm Director of Public and Government Affairs for AAA Mid-Atlantic. Really pleased when Bob King presented the idea with us. It was a great way for Delaware. It's a great Delaware story. You have AAA Mid-Atlantic, you have Dover International Raceway. We partner with Dover International, Gary Camp and his team, and Martin Truex as a race car driver that we sponsor through Michael Waltrip Racing. Really nice story, nice way to bring these three great organizations together around one safety message. And as the Secretary correctly pointed out, it's mostly drivers, mostly our members, the motorists that are most at danger in a work zone. So anything we can do, we're very pleased to see this come together. And Martin is top 5 driver this year, and he was unavailable to join us for the event. We'd kind of hoped to have him available if we could work out the schedule, but he was unavailable. And actually, when we approached Martin about supporting this campaign, he quickly agreed to it. We didn't really have to twist his arm too much. And he actually knew Wally the Work Zone Warrior would be a tough act to follow, but he was pleased that he could help stress this important message. Now, what he did is he asked me to read a statement that he had prepared about this. And this is Martin's statement. On the racetrack, safety is a driver's #1 priority. Lives depend on it. This is also true when you drive on your local roadways, especially when traveling within a work zone. Lane widths are often reduced. There are lane shifts and unexpected detours that can be confusing for drivers. And here at Dover International Speedway, a yellow flag is waved whenever we need to proceed with caution. As professional drivers, we instinctively slow down and exercise caution. Yet when approaching work zones, signs are posted alerting drivers to very similar conditions. Please remember to obey the posted signs, respect the flaggers, stay focused, and expect the unexpected. And most importantly, remain patient. Keep your cool. The few minutes you might gain are not worth injuring yourself, your loved ones, or the people working on the road. And remember, the highway is not the place to race. Lives depend on you being aware of your surroundings. So remember to slow down, stay alert, be responsive, and stay safe. And I want to see you all back here in June. And just a plug for us, in September is our race, the AAA 400 back here at Dover International. And as we begin a new construction season, AAA Mid-Atlantic would also like to remind motorists to use caution and drive safely when approaching and driving through these work zones. And while we continue to see progress in the reduction of work zone related fatalities, with 576 people dying nationally in these crashes, it's really clear we can be doing more and should be doing more to keep motorists, passengers, and the highway workers, the DelDOT workers, safe. And what we've encouraged our members through a variety of social media, our publications, and press releases is just simple tasks. Slow down, minimize distractions, plan ahead. I think DelDOT actually does a very fantastic job with their traffic alerts to advise the motoring public about what's going on. So plan ahead. There's the tools available. Observe posted advisories. Prepare for unusual driving conditions. And really, most importantly, practice patience on the road. And all of these can help reduce motorist crash risk in a work zone. And like Martin says, the highway is not a place to race. And with that, I'd like to introduce Chris Baker, who is Vice President of George and Lynch Contractors, representing the Delaware Contractors Association. Oh, one more thing. Martin had actually asked us to give this signed version of his race car, the number 56 Toyota. Oh, that's yours, signed version. So there you go.
Another big grid.
Yeah.
Can I play with it?
Good afternoon. My name is Chris Baker, and you've already heard what I currently do for George & Lynch, and yes, I am here representing the Delaware Contractors Association today. My background is in engineering and estimating, and I'm very comfortable with numbers. I work a lot with data and statistics, but today I want to focus more on the people, specifically highway workers, commuters, and pedestrians. God forbid our sense of urgency or our aggressiveness or disregard for posted warning signs results in even one injury. Highway workers go to work every day for the same reasons as you and I, to earn a living, to support their families, and to do something meaningful with their work. However, highway workers deal with some unique hazards in the form of traffic, where cars are much faster, much larger than people, and pose the risk of a significant injury. They cannot take their safety for granted, as is the case with the majority of most working people. Contrary to my initial statement, two numbers are very important. 1, if the awareness of work zone safety prevents at least one injury, we have accomplished something significant. And 0, we strive for a goal of 0 injuries. In closing, I urge you to be aware of work zone safety, obey traffic laws, and to view highway workers not as obstacles, but vulnerable human beings with families working to improve our roads. And, I'm sorry, I should be introducing
Adam Weiser.
Adam Weiser.
Thank you, Chris. I am Adam Weiser. I'm the Safety Programs Manager for DelDOT. I'd like to first start out by thanking Secretary Bhatt for being here today to support work zone safety. Thank you. Thank you, Secretary. I'd also like to thank Martin Truex Jr., AAA Mid-Atlantic, Dover International Speedway, and Monster Racing for helping to make this one of the best work zone safety campaigns we've ever had. This represents the 8th year DelDOT has participated as part of the National Work Zone Safety Awareness Campaign, and we are proud to continue to promote work zone safety. As with past efforts, we have been able to utilize federal safety funding to develop and implement this year's campaign. Safety improvements and public awareness campaigns that promote highway safety are a core element of the Federal Transportation Authorization and Delaware Strategic Highway Safety Plan. At previous press events, we've been able to report that there have been no work zone fatalities in Delaware in recent years. Unfortunately, during 2011, that changed. We had one fatality in a work zone last year, serving as a stone-cold reminder of the need to remain vigilant as we drive through work zones and work around high-speed traffic. While it is often joked that orange signs and cones sprout like flowers each spring, it should be a reminder to everyone that work zones occur along our roadways every day of the year. Whether a road construction project, a maintenance crew patching a roadway, a technician repairing a traffic signal, or a motorist assistance patrol aiding a disabled vehicle, these are all highway work zones and require motorists to assist us in all being safe. Too many drivers are distracted or in a rush to get where they're going. Please let this event serve as a reminder that there are men and women out on the road working to make your travel safer, more efficient, and less congested. This takes time and does cause some delays, so we need everyone's help in making our work zones safer. We ask that as you drive, you pay special attention to work zones for your safety and ours. When you see orange road signs or vehicles along or in the roadway with their lights flashing, remember to be alert, move over and slow down, stay focused and pay attention to other drivers and for workers, and expect the unexpected. And when you're planning that next trip to work or even to the grocery store, check out our website at www.deldot.gov. There you will find real-time traffic information, travel times for major roadways, and other useful information to help you plan your trip to avoid delays in work zones. If a NASCAR driver like Martin Truex Jr. can slow down in work zones, so can everyone else. Don't barrel through work zones. Drive smart to arrive alive. Thank you all for coming today, and please be safe on your travels home. I'll turn it over to Secretary Bhatt for closing remarks.
So I just want to say that the message that we want to leave you with here today is that Delaware roadways, especially our work zones, are not the place to race. The safety of you, your passengers, our workers, our contractors, and all the men and women behind those cones is depending on it.